We're born in the moonlight. Ain't no fantasy. Can't breathe in the sunlight.
Hello Aromas, this is Aromie here. Welcome back to Changeling. We're here with Shelly and Drayson. And Drayson has asked us if we wanted to go eat with him. I don't know if him specifically or with him with the group in the courtyard. Should we invite Shelly to come along as well? So that way it doesn't look like I'm trying to get into Drayson's pants. I just wasn't sure I wanted to, not another weird lunch, but he looked so hopeful. So instead, I was definitely going to drag someone normal along with me. I shot Shelly an innocent smile. You want to come too? Shelly looked rather surprised I'd asked. Well, I don't know if she saw me begging with my eyes or if she just decided she was okay with the company, but she offered up a hesitant smile. She nodded. Sure, I'll come. Are we going up to the courtyard? Yes, that's always the best place. He grabbed both of us by the hand and started dragging us towards the stairs. Shelly and I shared awkward smiles as we tried to keep up with him. As the noise from the cafeteria faded, Drayson chattered aimlessly as we walked, telling us about the upcoming art exhibit being organized by the art club, which he was apparently a part of. I perked up a little at that because, hey, I did the art thing too. I was curious, but I found myself a little distracted by the skittering noise that seemed to follow us down the empty hall. Soon I wasn't paying attention to a word he said. What is that? I glanced back several times, but when I did, the skittering would stop. It felt like we were being followed. Michiko, is everything alright? Oh, yeah, sorry, I looked away, a little embarrassed. I'm just not used to this place yet. What? Used to what? Oh, I'm sure for you guys it's just a second nature, but ever since I joined the club, it feels like I'm, seeing weird things around the school. Usually just out of the corner of my eye. Or I feel like things are following me around. Or seeing things out in the parking lot, lurking in the trees. I shrugged helplessly. It's all still a little weird for me. There are quite a lot of things that lurk around here. It's not just a haven for those of us that can blend in. But most of the things here are fine, I mean, they're not dangerous mostly. Mostly is a reassuring, just so you know. It's a bit hard to put up a strong, solid barrier at the school. It's a public building with a lot of traffic from human and cryptics alike, all of whom have varied and complex motivations that fluctuate on a daily basis. There are barriers in place to protect us from all mundane problems and violence, but nothing that is a blanket obstacle to keep out stray cryptics. But it's okay, I mean, some places are protected, like the club. It's really safe in there. But I listen to other staff clear out anything that might pose a danger. Everyone who interns with the agency helps with that as well. I'm pretty surprised they have students doing that. Students outnumber the teachers by quite a lot after all. It's like having prefects, except, no one knows about them except us. Right, prefects. Except they were interning for a secret government agency and working on keeping supernatural creatures from causing trouble. I cast another glance over my shoulder at the invisible skittering stalker. I hated this feeling constantly being followed or watched these days. It was really starting to get to me. I was relieved to not find Brenna lurking in the courtyard when we got there. Drayson offered to go get lunch for us all, but I felt bad letting him do it alone and offered to tag along. We left Shelly in the courtyard and headed to the murder. I'd been inside before and it seemed normal enough, but I'd heard rumors it was some kind of magic cafe or something, run by Corbin's family of wizard siblings. I had even met some of them before, so it was kind of hard to see it as some kind of magical cafe. It looked really normal inside, kind of cute and quirky, but I guess it did have a kind of strange vibe to it. Actually, the murder does a lot of work for the paranormal community. He was speaking quietly to me as if we waited on our order. They solve problems for people and find information. They're really, really good at it too. But some people are kind of nervous about them because, you have to pay them and things. Well, it's pretty normal to pay people for their help. But they don't take money, Then what do they take? I didn't get a chance to ask. A blonde woman brought our bags to the front and slid them across the counter toward us. I had never seen her before. Our eyes met. As I took one of them and for a split second, two of us froze, looking at each other curiously. I noticed the slightly pointed ears right away, but it was really the eyes that held my attention. She felt so strangely familiar in that moment, but I knew I had never met her before. She raised an eyebrow and her lips curved up slightly. Have a nice day. Thanks, Kaya. Kaya. The odd moment passed and Drayson was already walking away. I glanced back at Kaya once as we left the cafe. She was leaning over the counter watching us go. Weird. I was pleasantly surprised to find Ali waiting for us at the courtyard, and Ewan. When I saw him, there was an odd little flutter in my stomach that I tried very hard to ignore, called love. Instead, I grinned at Ali as we headed back to the table. I didn't know you'd be here today. Well, I usually have lunch up here. It's a lot quieter than the cafeteria. It doesn't smell like old socks is also a bonus. I smiled slightly, feeling strangely awkward after what happened in literature. Even though literally nothing happened in literature. We just read together. Jason and I set the bags down on the table. Hey, also wasn't expecting to see you. He shrugged. I eat here too. A lot. You weren't here the last time I was. He flushed slightly. I was busy. Are you sure, or were you avoiding me? Oh, you've been up here before? She had lunch with me and Brenna. Yeah, that was an experience. Yikes, I can imagine. She's not that bad. I mean, sometimes. Yeah, it's just the rest of the time that's the issue. Just like a proper cat. A cat? I slid into the empty space. Oh shit, I don't even know yet. Between Allie and Ewan. She's a Kate, Sid. Sid? You didn't know? No, actually. I thought she was just some generic fairy. Sid or she? Oh shit, she, sorry. Which is a word for fairy usually in Irish and Scottish fairy lore. Kate was just, well, cat. So basically it was cat fairy. So this is pronounced cat. That's pronounced she? Okay, cat she. I'd seen a few mentions of cat she before, but I hadn't read too much about them. Just that they were large black... Well, wait. Large black cats with a white spot. That cat was Brenna. Was that cat Brenna? Oh my god, that would make perfect sense in a way. But then, why was she always at Elliot's house? But then, Ewan had been there to see the cat. I can practically see the gears turning. What on earth are you thinking about me, Chico? I jumped when she said that. Nothing! I mean, I looked away. I was just thinking it was kind of weird imagining her as a cat, but she kind of does act like one sometimes. I didn't want to broach the subject of Brenna being that cat. Not here. I shot Ewan a sidelong look, but he was busy rifling through the bags for what was apparently an extra sandwich meant for him. He wasn't even paying attention to me. But if Brenna was that cat, then that meant she was the one that had been looking out for me at night. Or was it her in Ewan? He had been there that day to see her. He'd shown up at the bridge that day, shown up the day Spencer tried to ditch me. Then Jason and Brenna had followed me around after that incident with Kara. Were the three of them looking out for me? So cute. My guardian angels. I mean, if so, I was grateful. Kind of. Without Brenna's help, I'd had wandered off at least twice. But it felt weird being followed so much. And why not just talk to me? Why be all secretive about it? Was that some weird fairy thing? I let out a soft sigh. Maybe I was overthinking it all. It could just be a coincidence that Elliot's distressingly smart cat followed me around and that Ewan liked to talk to look exactly like the cat of the type of fairy Brenna was. Yeah, that seemed totally reasonable. Hello? Michiko? What? Sorry. Jeez, I said your name like 4 times. Just thinking about something. Sorry, what? I was just asking about your research. I mean, you know, if you found anything useful or interesting yet. Ugh, no, not really. I tried to drag myself out of the realm of conspiracy theorizing about Elliot's cat and into the conversation at hand. I was kind of distracted for a few days, so I didn't make a lot of progress on that front. What are you researching, if you don't mind my asking? No, it's okay. I'm just looking into fairies in general. But I guess that ultimately, I'm looking for some hints about some things that happened to Spencer and I a few years ago. You mean when you saw that murder in the bog? Murderer in the bog? He glanced his way a little confused. He doesn't actually believe. He was staring at me in rapt attention, eyes really wide. No, of course he believes it. Jason and there's no murderer, Jason. It's just a rumor, right? Really? How many times have I said you have to stop believing everything you hear? He looked up, tapping his fingers together as if counting. He sighed softly, a slight smile coming to his lips. You don't have to actually count them all. How cute. It was amazing to me how patient he was with Jason. No sarcasm or teasing at all. Just sort of a gentle guidance, like a big brother really. It was sort of cute. Anyway, I'm really glad there wasn't a murderer. Me too, believe me. If there was, I probably wouldn't be here. But is that what you're researching then? The thing where you disappeared? Yeah, basically, among other things. Me going missing, Spencer losing the sight in one of his eyes, if they're really connected to me being Fae, and if so, how? It's not really an easy thing to find information on. You know that fairies have been known to blind mortals that see them, right? Spencer originally claimed he saw me, unless you're implying I blinded him. Though it wasn't like there weren't some people who thought that, apparently. Spencer also said you were a monster, if you'll remember. I'm not sure he knows what he really saw back then. The table was silent for a minute. If your brother saw fairies back then, fairies other than you, does that mean he has some sort of sight-based ability? He's not in the club, so I thought he wasn't a cryptic. To be honest, there's something we're not totally sure about yet, and it's not something we're going to have time to delve into until after Samhain. Just because he saw fairies once doesn't mean anything. Humans do sometimes catch sight of them on accident. I don't know that it was just once. I've been thinking a lot about what you said that first day in the club alley. I think Spencer and I both used to see them a lot as kids, but it's actually pretty common for children to be more perceptive to the paranormal when they're young. 12 is pretty old to still be hanging out. Still be hanging on to that kind of skill though. I just wonder what it was he really saw that day. Maybe you should ask him. Just ask him. I laughed dryly at the totally sincere way he suggested that. If only it was really that simple. You should know that we can't just talk to other people about what we are. You, Michiko, and I are more than some of the other people in the club. Yeah, that was true. I've been told just how dangerous it was to tell my family about all this, specifically because fairies were involved. But that didn't mean Drayson was wrong. The easiest way to find out what happened would be to just ask him. But we literally can't. Too bad I wasn't sure I'd ever be able to do that. Not with his snooping around. I was glad that my afternoon course load was pretty light. After that heavy conversation, sort of weird epiphany during lunch, it was pretty hard to focus. I spent half of my study hall going all over the evidence I had that Elliot's cat was indeed Brenna. I spent the other half contemplating how weird it was that one of my classmates was potentially another classmate's cat. Then I spent my free period trying to work out how to ask Ewan if Brenna was Elliot's cat, and if they'd been watching over me, and did he know about the sleepwalking? Did he know why I was sleepwalking? And why, if he knew all those things, wouldn't they just talk to me about what was going on? And what was with fairies and all the damn secrecy about everything? Was it just one of the weird compulsions Ali mentioned, or did they have a reason for keeping me in the dark? Or did they not know that and were... Oh my god, this is a lot of reading. My throat is hurting from previous recordings. Or did they not know, and were they just being generous and looking out for me because I was some kind of idiotic fairy newbie who couldn't watch her own back? I had no idea. I wanted to talk to him about it so badly. I didn't even know where to begin. But I was pretty glad when school was over, even though it just meant another hour in the club ruminating over it all. As if thinking super hard about it would somehow help me figure out what was going on. I finally got fed up sitting there by myself and decided to just go outside and get some fresh air. In the end, I was just going to have to talk to Ewan about it. Brenna probably wouldn't answer me even if I somehow cornered her. And I don't know, blurting out a question about whether she was someone's pet seemed like a really good way to get my eyes clawed out either way. I flopped on the front steps of the school and laid back, staring up at the sky. What did it matter anyway? The most likely scenario, even if that cat was Brenna, was that she was lurking around by coincidence and happened to see me. She didn't exactly seem like a charitable angel, but she was clearly more complicated a person than I realized, and was not the first thing I'd read about fairies. They were mercurial. For all I knew, she was just helping me on a whim, and Ewan had helped me a few times too, but it wasn't just because we were classmates. There didn't have to be deep meaning to it. I felt myself being lulled to sleep by the warm sun and the sound of wind through the trees. I kind of didn't want to move, but at the back of my head, I knew that it would be stupid to sleep out here. I opened my eyes and forced myself to sit up. The first thing I noticed when I sat up was a dark figure leaning against a tree on the far side of the parking lot. I wasn't even surprised to see him standing there watching me. Wait, what? You're just watching me? Go talk to Ewan. Why would I text Ali? I need to talk to Ewan. Well, now was as good a time as any to see what the heck those three were up to. I stood and brushed myself off before shouldering my bag and heading his way. To his credit, he waited for me. I half expected him to try to pull the Brenna-type disappearing act. Oh, he was waiting for me? But no, I made it all the way to him where we just stood looking at each other awkwardly. Were you sleeping? I wasn't asleep. Just thinking, how long were you standing here watching? I literally passed out for a couple seconds. He shifted awkwardly. Not that long. I saw you and wasn't sure what you were doing, that's all. You could have come over to say hi. If you were sleeping, I thought it was better just to keep an eye on you. From a distance? What if someone swooped me by the staircase? You can't catch up to me by then. I don't need people keeping an eye on me from a distance. If you're sleeping in the school parking lot, you might. Very funny, I wasn't sleeping. Where's your ride? Not back yet. Want me to take you home? I mulled it over for a second, then pulled out my phone. Just let me tell Allie. Hey, Ewan is taking me home. Again? He offered. Ooh, please. I ran my eyes and put my phone away before shooting Ewan a smile. I guess we're good to go. He shoved his hand in his pocket and led me over to his bike. He handed me the extra helmet and busied himself strapping down his bag. I hopped down while strapping the helmet on, feeling like I was kind of becoming a pro at this. He climbed on in front of me and I leaned forward, setting my hands on his waist like usual. Somehow it felt awkward all over again. I feel so mad awkward. I can feel the awkwardness through the screen. But anyway, this is where we're actually gonna stop for today. I think you guys told me there was 13 chapters of Ewan. It's just there's the CG art comes in slowly or something. I can't remember. But you guys did tell me there was at least 13 chapters. I think, if my memory serves me right, which it usually doesn't. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.